Okay. I'm having to do this because I'm kind of praying that this stand still works. It's
Yeah.
on its last legs.
Not get an action sequence,
But,
unintended action sequence today.
if you tumble over the side of the table, sorry.
If the excuse me, if the camera falls down, just pretend it's a podcast.
Yeah.
You just hear us yelling.
It's, I've always told you before, I'm Jared, by the way.
I'm Josh. Good to be back, man.
I'm so glad that YouTube now exists for us because this used to be a podcast. And before that, we would meet on the Riverwalk in Macon and do this very same show through interpretive dance.
It was pretty awesome, to be honest with you. I kind of miss those days sometimes. But I like this too, so it's good. You know, variety is the spice and all that. It's very cool.
It's a different time.
Yeah, I was way less fat then, so my ankles are much happier that I'm not doing the interpretive dance BS anymore.
Right off the bat, there's like a lot of people we lost this week.
No kidding, man. Just you right, dude.
Just before we sat down to record this, the news has broke about Bobby the Brain Heenan, and I guess since most of the news we discuss is wrestling related, I have to start with that. And
Makes sense.
it's one of those kind of passions that you hear about, and you're just kind of like, well, good. You know, he had an awesome run, a huge bucket of win, good run. Was a lot younger than I thought he was. He's 73. He had a sad end, you know, when it came to the illness and stuff like that. But
It kind of goes with what you were saying, though, man. And this is like a horrible thing to say, but it's true, man. When the sad ending is also a very long ending, yeah, I mean, it still sucks for his family, and it sucks for the people that are going to miss him every day. But it's kind of, I hate suffering, man. I don't care for people suffering, man. And I'm just glad Bobby ain't suffering no more.
yeah, that's the most important thing, and what I want you to take away from it, and remember the good times, people.
Yeah, because God, there were plenty of them. And it's interesting. It's interesting you say he's 73, man, because I'm like, I wouldn't have put that together either. And then you start thinking about how long he was around, and it was like, yeah, boy, God, he did have a heck of a run, didn't he? Yeah, man, like especially if you go back to the AWA worker stuff, which I didn't know anything about. I didn't know any of that until the AWA documentary came out. And gosh, who was it that was good? I think it was Flair when they were put together the 92 run, and it was all like, no, Bobby, you got to take the turnbuckle bump and go crazy. And Bobby's like, I haven't done that in 20 years, Rick. Leave me alone. I'm retired. He's like, man, I wanted him for what he used to be. And Bobby's like, you didn't leave me alone. It's messed up, man.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, for real. I'm not doing that anymore. Jerk, you're the one that takes all those crazy bumps down. You're the champ. You're the one with the robe.
You hadn't been watching our TV, brother.
Yeah, for real.
I'm not a worker.
Yeah, for real. You crazy.
I don't have to work.
Yeah, for real, man. You know how to work?
Nope.
No, I don't. Not anymore. I don't have to.
But so, big bucket of win
Yeah.
to Bobby the Brain, swirling into heavens.
Yeah, it's him, buddy.
Another guy.
I like the idea of the mental image of Bobby the Brain trucking around heaven in one of those WrestleMania 3 rings.
Yeah, it's coming out.
We've been on the subject of the
coming through the gates in the ring.
That's right. I think that's pretty cool. Andre was sitting there waiting for him, so he jumped in the back, and just good to see you, boss. And they ride in together on the WrestleMania 3 ring. I like that.
if I don't know if you know this about us, but one of the things that we do like is I like film. I love film.
Film is very important to myself and my friend.
And two big guys in the world of film we lost this week. Was the first one, you may not recognize the name Frank Vincent. Frank Vincent passed away this week. Frank Vincent was awesome. Frank Vincent was the guy in Goodfellas that tells Joe Pesci to go get your shine box. And he ended up, offing him. And he was the dude in the Cadillac in Do the Right Thing that the kids spray the water all over, and he's
Mad dude. Oh yeah,
on the side of the trying to tell his story to the real sympathetic cops. But the thing I'll always remember him for, most people remember him for, just the scene in The Sopranos. If it wasn't the last episode, it had to be the next to last. He was the dude that is at the gas station.
Gas station, man. That's what I was getting. Yeah, oh yeah.
Filling up the car. His quintessential mob guy was what he looked at. That's what he got cast as most of the time. All the time. So, Sopranos is wrapping up. He was one of the guys that they had to be off towards the end. He's filling up the gas at the gas station, trying to lay low, keep a low profile. It's like his daughter and what appears to be a grandchild in the back seat, and he's doing the whole placing with a kid through the window as he's filling up, and gets popped in the back of the head. That wasn't enough.
Oh no, yeah,
that wasn't enough for David Chase. End. No, it keeps going. He's falls over. He's dead on the ground, and the car starts to roll, and you see he gets off by the head rolling over, and it's capped off by the way everybody. I love scenes that tied up with someone having a line or doing something on screen that is the audience and how everybody feels. And it's all summed up with this guy like puking. What the?
Tim
the guy watching from afar like sees this happening. He's like, what the? So.
It is fun to have the audience character. I agree. I like that too, man. You don't overplay that card. You just play it perfectly. And that's a perfect time to do it.
So, Frank Vincent, another one that got sent off this week, and the one that I think passing away came between Frank and Bobby tonight was Harry Dean Stanton.
Yeah, Harry Dean on the total opposite spectrum from Bobby made it much longer. He was like 91, I think. And yeah, Harry Dean's important. All of us David Lynch kids love us some Harry Dean Stanton. So
man, just when you look at the list of movies, it's pretty incredible. Cool Hand Luke, Alien, Pretty in Pink, Kelly's Heroes, stuff that been in more movies than he can even remember. He was the old man in the Avengers that finds Bruce Banner naked in the crater. So it wasn't the last appearance, but one of them. I think he had a documentary that's getting ready to come out on Partially Fiction, I think was the title of it.
Cool,
it sounded really interesting. I was right surprised that one of these days I'm going to do a show where I just discuss all the podcasts I listen to. One of the podcasts I listen to is Doug Loves Movies. Yeah. He was a guest on that maybe a year and a half ago, something like that, and it was re-released this past week. And just hearing him talk about some of his old movies was really kind of cool. But he was on there to promote that documentary that's surely been out for a while now.
I'm a complete jerk looking at my phone. I wanted to double check something before I say it out loud because I just didn't want to be wrong.
Paris, Texas.
That's a very good movie, by the way.
I really knew him most from. I was a big fan of the HBO show Big Love, and he was the antithesis to Bill Paxton's character. Speaking of guys that have passed away.
Just so you know, everybody has to do one or the other.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. So, so that's what did you have something to say?
Yeah. I'm sorry, man. First of all, Big Love. I absolutely love that show because I have long believed, probably in my opinion, even more so than Charlize Theron, that Chloe Sevigny is like the bedrock of the too pretty to be taken seriously as an actress camp.
Oh yeah.
Watch some of her work, man, because it's subtly, crushingly good. But in Big Love, it's not so subtle. Like it was really a star turn for her, and she got to be like extraordinarily. She was great in that show. She was great in that show. But what I was looking at on my phone, man, was just wanted to make sure that I got it right because I'm a complete dork. But I said all of us Lynch kids love Harry Dean Stanton. And the reason we do is because he's good old Johnny Farragut from Wild at Heart. Yeah. And if that doesn't mean anything to you, that's okay. If you hadn't seen the movie, there's no way you've seen the movie and Johnny Farragut doesn't mean something to you because it's one of the most sympathetic and horrifying things that's ever happened in a movie, and nothing happens. But Johnny Farragut, you will never be more sympathetic and disturbingly sick for a character, maybe ever. Johnny's the man. Johnny's the one that, what the heck is her name? I know her real name. I just can't think of, oh, darn, it'll come to me in a second. Anyway, He's the man. He's dating Marietta. He's the private detective that Marietta sends to go find Slater and Luna, and then winds up she double crosses him and.
Yeah, man. It ends rough for him.
It does, and I cannot believe I forgot. It's Grace Zabriskie is the actress. That's Laura Palmer's mama from Twin Peaks. And I cannot believe I can't think of the name of her crazy character in that movie. But man, she's cool. That's a cool character.
Yeah, some of those characters' names in movies like that, I remember the actor. Okay, I feel like I'm doing my part by knowing that.
Yeah, look it up based off of Grace Zabriskie. That'll get you the name. But it's just. Anyhow, good stuff. Wild at Heart's a great movie. It's if I was ranking my David stuff, it might be 2. I really do like it an awful lot.
That's tough.
Yeah,
It's definitely up there. It's high. It's top 3, if not top 5. So it would be up there.
Yeah, mine too. Blue Velvet's my number 1. Everything after that is kind of this log jam for second place.
You can make a case for, Mulholland Drive and Lost Highway and all this
I
stuff.
love Lost Highway. That one's, and I like Mulholland a lot too.
Yeah.
But Lost Highway is spectacular. Probably because it's the first one I ever saw. So I mean, I think that goes a long way.
Yeah.
But Blue is definitely number 1, and then after that we'll just have to go. And by the way, has there ever been a color used in the title of more good movies than blue? I don't think ever. It's amazing, man. Blue Velvet. Blue is the warmest color. Just blue. Kieslowski's blue. Lady Sings the Blues. Blues Clues. There were lots of those.
Heck yeah.
It's good stuff, man.
That's what it's all about.
Blue Jasmine. That was an amazing movie.
Oh,
Anyhow,
yeah.
I'm going to stop. But the problem is, I love film. I actually went to a taping of those movies one time. It was quite fun.
Awesome.
Yeah, Tasha is a huge fan. She said, man, we got to go. I'm like, all right, let's go. It was pretty fun, man.
My problem with and there's one coming up at Variety Playhouse later in, I think, October. None of my name tags would get picked. I don't have any good names that relate to movies that I could make a name tag of.
I understand.
So,
I have I have the same problem. I've thought of a couple that would be okay, but I don't know. It's just the amount of it's kind of weird. It's kind of like the name tags for Doug Loves Movies. It's kind of like Dragon Con costumes. I like dressing up. I'm a big fan of going down there in costume, but there are definitely levels to it. And how seriously some people take their damn name tags, that is more than I'm willing to put into it. I mean, it is ridiculous. Like, dude, I'm glad you enjoy it so much, but that's not me.
Man, you realize it's just a show, and
It's not. The show is not about your poster. Let's just get people talking about these movies, man. Doug loves film. Doug loves film. Doug is a big fan of film. Doug is a big fan of your comedies.
Loves your comedies.
I'm a big fan of your comedies.
Another big story from this week that I don't know, something we want to get into. It's because it's hard to get into this story and not get too political. But the whole ESPN and what's her name, Jamel Hill thing, like it's one of those kind of stories where it's like, how could you not know that was going to happen? But I think probably what was going through her head was, well, as liberal as this company as I work for, they're not going to notice or even care. And then when people did, and there are enough people out there that will follow somebody like that on Twitter just for them to post something like that and give them crap about. And if they can go to ESPN and be like, I'm not going to tune in to see who won against the Patriots and God knows whoever until you fire this woman, then they're going to do it.
Two things. It is bizarre to me that people don't quite yet understand that probably, I'm going to be the liberal that I am and say 25% of the people that follow you on Twitter, if you're a celebrity, don't like you. They follow you because they don't like you. Secondly, anybody saying they're going to tune off ESPN until they fire Jamel Hill can hold their breath and die, because they're never going to get rid of her for that. You have to cross your fingers and hope that corporate sponsors step up and say, we're pulling commercials because that's what gets it done.
Yeah.
Well, they fired Kurt Schilling because you push politics. No, they fired Kurt Schilling because as soon as he runs his mouth about homosexuals, companies, big-time corporations that run advertisements for them said, can't do it no more, Hondo.
Yeah.
Either you want to cut us a discount or we going.
Yeah.
That's what matters. I know that we've all been bred to believe the customer is always right, but it's a crock of crap. You don't mean anything. I don't mean anything. No individual in this country means anything. If a corporation is not taking their money out of this other corporation, nothing is going to happen. If Jamel Hill cost them advertising dollars, then she'll be fired.
Yeah.
You can celebrate. You can think it's the greatest thing ever that she got fired for her politics, even though you still want to squawk that Kurt got fired for his. But in reality, neither one of them will have gotten fired for their politics. They will have gotten fired because they cost the boss money. That's the thing you can't do.
At the very least, I mean, she may serve like a day suspension. I think they did that with Linda Cohn recently, and I don't even remember what
Linda did. I think
she
you're right though. That sounds familiar.
But that did happen. So, I mean, firing somebody, that's pushing it. But
you cost the boss
but
money.
just don't.
Go. And if you don't, it's not going to happen anyway.
Nobody should act shocked that somebody tweets something like that.
That's something that surprised me in that story. People have been squawking about her and Michael Smith for months, and now, oh God, they're just such liberal trash, and they're race baiters, and oh my God, and now you want to act some. This is what, dude. It's the same thing like we talked about with Mayweather didn't knock him out. Y'all are the ones that said he couldn't punch. It's the same thing. How could you not expect this?
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with lefties going bananas over Trump's tweets. How is any of this surprising? I don't understand how anybody's surprised, man.
So it's just one of those kind of stories where it's like, man, if that's the worst stuff going on, and you got it pretty good.
That's the great myth about left versus right in this country, man, is as long as we're squabbling over the crap that we squabble over, we're doing okay. We're doing okay. So it's cool, man. Keep believing. And I think my thing about left versus right that drives me the most crazy, man, is how many people want to tell you, I don't believe the media. The media's a bunch of crap. I don't believe the media for nothing because they're the media. But where are you getting your information from? Yeah. If you don't believe any of it, it's all good. It's very easy and very liberating if you don't believe any of it.
Yeah, be skeptical of anything and everything.
Everything, all of it, because it's
value.
all a sales pitch. That's all any of it is, man. Is try and figure out what they're trying to sell you and who gets the money if they sell it to you. Those are the only two questions about anything in this country, because people can talk about it being a Christian nation, people talk about it being a Republican, conservative nation. It is a capitalist nation. Capitalism is the religion of the country. It is the government structure of the country. It is bigger than you. That's everything. It is all about how do I make this dollar? How do I get it from you? That's it. That's it, man. That's all of them. It's all of them.
What are you talking about? We worship the NFL.
Yeah, we do worship the NFL.
Well, man, do you want to talk about the fight from last night?
Oh,
or
yeah.
You had something else you want to do first?
Yeah, we could definitely talk about the fight from last night.
I didn't watch it.
I enjoyed it enough for both of us, so it's all good.
That's cool.
It is all good. This is the one I've been waiting on because I really like boxing. I enjoy boxing. I've followed Canelo Alvarez for a hot minute. Golovkin has been a name that I've seen in print up until last night, and I hate that that's the case because I really like the guy. It's just that I like boxing in the same way that I like horse racing and tennis. Yeah. I watch the big ones. And even with boxing, I don't watch all of them because they're expensive. But I'm excited about this. Ever since I was a kid, I've always liked smaller fighters better. I've always preferred middleweights just because there's more action. It's the same thing I said all the time about tennis. I love tennis, but I'd rather watch women play because unless Serena's out there, the power game is not normally that much of a factor in women's tennis. It's way more setting up, hitting your spots, and just
finesse.
Yeah, and that's what I like because I just don't need. Going back to our wrestling thing, man, I am not interested in Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman just smashing into each other. I don't care. I would rather watch the opening, exchanges between Ospreay and Ricochet, who I'm not even a fan. Ricochet, I'm a fan of. Ospreay, I couldn't give you two craps for. But I like that stuff. I like the acrobatics. I like the athleticism. I just don't need to see two rhinoceroses slamming into each other. If I wanted to see that, I would turn on Wild Kingdom and watch rhinoceroses smash into each other. I think rhinoceroses is the plural of that word. Anyhow, man,
I don't know.
We tuned the fight in, and it's all good. Actually, we didn't tune the fight in because my pay-per-view died, which is wonderful. I'm actually really happy about
Worked
that.
out.
Yeah, about 2 hours afterwards, you get on YouTube and you can watch it. And it was telling the man it's still early enough to where things hadn't been taken off yet, so it's great. So they're out there doing their thing.
YouTube or Daily Motion, usually something's going to come up.
I'm scoring the fight as I go along in my completely amateur way. Because I've said many times before, I am shockingly arrogant when it comes to sports, particularly college football. But that's because I know college football. Boxing, I don't know. I just really like it. So I'm going down doing my scorecard. It's all good. Made this huge mistake. First things first, I'll tell you my score. I scored the fight myself. This is before I found out because I paused it after the 12th round and added up my math. And then you turn it on and you find out what the scores were. I scored the fight 115-113 Canelo Alvarez. 115-113. And the thing was, I had 2 rounds that I'd put little stars next to because I thought they were so competitive and so good, I considered going 10-10 or flipping them. That wasn't my mistake. It's just, man, like what a close fight. What a good close fight. That's awesome. Then the scorecards come out. 115-113 Golovkin. 114-114, and then the one that everyone's talking about, the only thing anyone will talk about today. That's it. What the hell was it? I think it was 118-110 Canelo. And that's the story. That's all anyone talks about. I was telling Jared earlier, man, it's good that people talk about that because at least this is the deal. If you feed ESPN what you want them to talk, just give them a little bit of what they think they want. They will advertise for you all night and all day, and that's exactly what they did today because literally by having such a ridiculous scorecard in there, well, it's corrupted, it's rigged, and Vegas won and Canelo bought that judge, and he probably did. I think so because that's 8 points. Nobody won that fight by 8 points. But here's what's great about it. ESPN is never going to tell you about what happened in that ring from bell to bell because it was fabulous. It was not Conor McGregor and his pillow hammer punches. It wasn't any of that malarkey bullcrap that we got in that last fight. This was real boxing, and if you like it, it was wonderful. It was competitive. It was fun. Very hard to score. Very back and forth. Very exciting. They never going to talk about that. A competitive fight where you get a winner, ESPN will talk about that. But you give them a draw and you give them something that is so obviously just bullcrap, they will advertise for you for free. So talk to me all day about how boxing is dead. They still got the ESPN dog chasing the tail. Or the ESPN tail wagging the dog, however you want to say it. So that's that. Now I have to revisit my own scorecard because this was the main thing. I messed up. I hate to admit that I messed up, but I messed up. And here's how I messed up. 115-113 Canelo. With the 2 rounds that I starred because I was like, man, that could have gone either way. But I didn't do them 10-10. I did them 10-9. Both of them 10-9 for Canelo Alvarez. You want to know why I did that?
What's that?
I'm a moron. I scored them 10-9 with the mentality of, well, a tie goes to the champ. Here's why I'm a moron. Golovkin was the champ. I literally got it crossed over in my head which one of them was defending. And because it was so close to begin with, I'm like, well, I have no problem whatsoever flipping those around and calling it 115-113 Golovkin, which is interesting because that's exactly what one of the scorecards was. But it was so weird because that literally is what the stars meant. It was like, well, give it to the champ. And I found out I'd given it to the wrong champ. So when it comes time to correcting my mistake and giving it to the right guy, Golovkin by 2 rounds. But Golovkin by 2 rounds. That's it. A fight that close, you'd have one again anyway. Here's what I was telling the man. Here's the genius of the draw. If Alvarez wins, especially with Golovkin being undefeated and the champion, of course there's going to be a rematch. If Golovkin wins, Canelo probably has enough stroke to engineer a rematch anyway, especially as close as that fight was because it was really, really good. But what do you do if you have a draw? You ain't setting up a rematch. Now you're setting up a trilogy, which will get you 4 paydays for the price of 1. That is absolutely brilliant and ingenious. And the whole thing about boxing's fake. It's all rigged. We've said it before on the show. Let me say it again. This is the face of the guy who will tell you to your face on your YouTube screen, all sports are rigged. It's just entertainment. It is just scripted entertainment. And if you don't put your money on it, it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's really fun. Who cares if it's not real as long as you enjoy it? But don't put your doggone money on it because then you won't enjoy it when your boy doesn't win. That's dumb.
All those betting sites are too complicated for me to figure out how to work in the first place.
Dude, I wish that was the case for most people, because then they wouldn't be having this heart attack they're having today about the robbery, and it was so obvious.
Is that part of it? Is they're just guessing?
Why do you care? If you didn't lose money on it, why do you care?
That's how they make it entertaining for themselves, I guess. It's a lot more fun to watch a St. Louis Cubs game at the end of the year that really, could mean or not mean anything. But if your rent's riding on it,
it's a bigger deal.
Yeah.
And then when you lose, you have a fit, don't you?
Oh, yeah.
And you're the first one to say, "Oh, it's all rigged and stupid. Who cares about a rematch?" But you'll be the first one to pay for it, won't you? You'll be the reason that my cable company can't give me pay-per-view. And that's the thing, is if it's just all in fun, have a blast. Yeah. But if you're seriously that big of a crybaby bitch that you're going to go back and give them the money again anyway, just be quiet. Calm down. We've had enough. It's like, okay, if you really don't want to watch it, don't. But if you do, please shut up, child. You know what I'm saying? But that's the thing. Don't get mad that boxing is better at TV sports than the NFL. I'm sorry the NFL's not as good as boxing, but boxing knows exactly what they're doing. If you have a controversial finish, you get a rematch. You have a draw. Now you got 3 more fights. That's ingenious. It is absolutely ingenious, and it was so entertaining and so much fun. I can't wait for all 3 of them. The other thing that's guaranteed, though, is this, man. Canelo Alvarez goes after the fight and is talking and all this stuff, man. And he got booed by the Mexican folks because he didn't fight his own way. Think they might have a fire fight next time? It'll be great, because Golovkin's like that, too. We didn't really touch on Gennady Golovkin as much whenever we were doing the McGregor thing, because, again, I'm pretty sure this is clear by now, but let me just be real clear on it. In discussing Floyd Mayweather, in discussing any of the possible future boxing matches for Conor McGregor, sporting competition at no point ever enters the equation when I'm trying to put these things together. Ever. Not ever. Not ever did it occur to me that McGregor wanted Mayweather's record or that Mayweather was afraid of losing the record, because those are actually sporting competition spoils. This is not that. Yeah. It's just entertainment and making money. That's it. Remember at the very beginning when I said this whole thing's about money? Yeah. Maybe the only person in the country that really meant it, but I meant it, and I still mean it. That's all it was about. That's okay. So when I talk about him trying to get a match with Manny Pacquiao, it's just the name recognition. When I talk about him getting a match with Canelo Alvarez and how it's probably not that good of an idea because Canelo's kind of dangerous, I then went on to say that, Golovkin's pretty dangerous too. Let me explain and expound upon that a little bit. I didn't mean to I really feel bad because I feel like kind of I dissed Golovkin in that. And it's not that. It's just Golovkin does not have the name recognition of those other 2 guys. Competition-wise, he's far, far, far scarier than definitely Pacquiao's nothing now. Yeah. But, he is a scary guy.
If he murders Conor in the ring, you'll know his name.
Yeah, seriously. And it might happen, especially if they get to go to the 4-ounce gloves, because Golovkin would probably say yes to that. Oh, man, you going to see real punching power from a UFC guy now. Yeah, as long as the punching power you want to see is the indention on his freaking brain. People are crazy. Y'all are crazy about that. Yeah. But 4-ounce gloves is how you know a UFC is fake. Yes, I said it. UFC is fake. And I can prove it. I can at least give you my idea of why I think so. You'd be dead. If somebody with any power at all had a 4-ounce glove and punched you dead in the face, you would be dead. I believe that Ronda Rousey and maybe one other person are the only UFC fighters to ever stay in the hospital overnight. Much less have any damage, much less, they don't go to the hospital afterwards. It's not real. Because if it was real, you'd know it.
The deal with the Wrestling with Shadows, Bret Hart, documentaries, one of the points he makes is, his kids go to school and they defend his dad for being in this fake sport, and he kind of brings it to the point like, why am I called a fake and not a great actor when I'm hitting somebody and, we're having this match and there's never a bruise?
It's a good point. Again, it's all a show. They're all shows, man. It's all great. And that is, we talked about that earlier, how that's the new MMA fans have to trash boxing now because they can't trash wrestling anymore because everyone's going into wrestling. And they should, because that has always been, yes, I know we all think that Dana White invented the UFC 5 years ago, but mixed martial arts has been around a long time. And in Japan, guys have been doing this forever. Guys have been crossing over forever because the paychecks in wrestling are better and you can do it more often because you're not really getting your head knocked over. It's cool. That's awesome, man. But Yeah, anyway, in summary, real quick stuff, man. Awesome fight, man. Very enjoyable, really hard to call, which is the best kind. And I just can't wait for him to do it again. Hopefully 3 more times. But if you get that firefight in the second one, they might not go on, but at least you've got groundwork for it now. It's awesome. Don't do Marquez Pacquiao where you have to have 4 of them. Yeah. Because you don't want that. Although Marquez Pacquiao 4 is pretty fun to watch because Manny finally got what was coming to him. And the first one's great too. The first one though is a legitimately great fight because it's when Pacquiao was still fun to watch. Now he's got gas all up his booty. He is absolutely drugged out of his mind. But if you can get past that, which it really doesn't bother me, except that people want to give him a pass for it. But drugs in sports don't bother me. No. But it's a lot of fun. That first one is a good fight, and then 2 and 3 are. The first one, it's fun. That first one's great. It's real good. I think Pacquiao knocks him down, 3 times in the first round and 4 in the first 2. And Marquez comes back and gets a draw. How busy was Marquez the rest of that fight? It's amazing. It's amazing. And then after that, you get what you get. And the fourth one is the no doubter, but that's because Pacquiao was off that gas by then.
Call Vince. Speaking of Vince and UFC and the crossing over and this and the other thing, that's been the rumors going around this week. But Vince was back on SmackDown, and that was for the first time in like 4 years, I think they said.
Oh man!
And
I knew it had been a while. I did not know it had been that long.
Yeah, it's a big deal when he shows up.
Yeah, it is.
And so they have their closing.
Got one.
Oh yeah, might as well.
Yeah.
So they're wrapping up SmackDown. Kevin Owens is cutting his promo about wanting to own the company and this and that other thing. And I loved him going around and firing Sammy, and is already writing the theme to the Kevin Owens show.
Yeah.
With Aiden English, and they get to the promo at the end, and I took away the same thing that most everybody did. Is like, Vince is just too old to be out there doing that.
I can dig that.
Busted open the hard way.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be hard wayed right now.
No.
So, man, go on, Vinny. Thank you, brother.
So, that was the coolest thing about all that is the opening up was like it was pretty gnarly.
I love it. I'm very happy that. I mean, because again, I don't watch the weeklies, but I like when I get excited about the stuff that I hear. And Kevin Owens doing anything, I'm excited about because I just think that we'll get to the PWI top 500 in a second. I think that I thought his placement on the list was very good. We'll get to there in a second, but I just love the guy so much, and I don't want to hear about anybody else on the mic except that guy. As far as legitimately sounding like off the cuff, making stuff up, this is what he's saying. And let's throw back, because obviously, in my opinion, there's nobody in the company right now that can hang with him. I will take it a step further and talk about one of mine and Jared's mutual favorite guys. CM Punk sure got a whole lot of powder and shine for his mic skills, didn't he? His mic work, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sure did. And I get it, because, again, I mean, like him or not, he did have the most influential thing in the last 20 years of the business. And it stinks because I'm tired of everyone trying to rewrite that promo, but it is undeniably the most influential thing anybody's done. But as far as that natural stick work sounds like real stuff, he is not playing Kevin Owens' sport. It's not even the same thing. I think Owens is so much better than anybody I've heard in so long. It's not even real. So I'm totally with you on the firing Sami Zayn and taking over the show. And just there's something hilarious about the practicality of writing a new theme song. It's just hilarious and awesome. It's not, it's good. Very, very good stuff.
It boils down to, this is still supposed to be fun. And, that's just good stuff.
That's my thing with my heels. I am so tired of the super badass, tough guy, can't nobody hurt. I hate that character anyway. I had my Dynamite Kid phase a long time ago, man. I'm over it. I'm not wild about people that take it so seriously. It's fun to have somebody super serious on the roster. I don't want the whole roster to be that.
Yeah.
It just gets old, Anyhow, but Kevin Owens is the man, and that's what makes him so good, I think, man, is that when he needs to be funny, he can be funny. When it comes time to beat the crap out of somebody, you believe that too. That's awesome. That is an awesomely talented person. I love that guy. So I'm glad he's prominent and doing his thing. We talked about just something I read on Instagram today that I loved, the idea of Shane's shares being put on the line for the match, and Triple H intervening and helping him win, and then taking the show over and setting up Triple H and Shane for WrestleMania. Boy, I like the sound of every bit of that.
Yeah,
that's cool, man.
At least something that makes sense.
Yeah, I like it because they did that whole backstage thing with Triple H and Kevin Owens that never went anywhere, and it didn't have to go anywhere. But if you wanted to call back to that, you could. You could literally just have it be like, I knew this superstar shakeup was coming. So that was the whole thing, was like, go to SmackDown.
Take over from
go to SmackDown. Go with Shane. We're going to make this work. It's going to be cool. And I'm going to mention it again because I'm a boring person. But I live in hope of getting our little faction together. I love our faction. I think it's awesome. So just hang in there, guys.
Even going back to the Legacy days, man, I was the one that was booking the storyline where Shane joins Legacy. And
just that alone sounds incredible. That's awesome, man.
And it just, what sense does it make for Shane and Undertaker to wrestle for the control and stake of Raw when it was supposed to be Shane and Triple H all along? It doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't get paid off in the slightest.
Yeah, man.
Shane ended up on SmackDown. So what? And then, so this is finally something moving towards something that kind of makes a little bit of sense. It's nice to have stuff to look forward to.
Yeah, I agree.
On the show.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And
I love that idea, and I love whether it's what they're doing or not, man. What they've done already is cool. So that part's awesome, man.
Had that go down this week, and also had, speaking of more UFC infiltration, you had the finale of the Mae Young Classic, which was really good. I dug it. As much as I liked Kairi Sane in the tournament, I never would have picked her to win. Talk about losing money, brother. I lost a lot of money, brother, because I just knew that Shayna Baszler was the one they were going with, building the whole Ronda Rousey coming in thing. And I think the reason why it would have made more sense for her to win is because with her losing the tournament, now she's got that, Ronda Rousey, the loser that hangs out with a bunch of losers, stink on her. And that's, that's the first promo that I would have them cut against her, whoever she ends up going against.
I guess they know that they can get that stink off of people because Brock is Mr. Unbeatable Terminator, but his last day in the business was against Alistair Overeem, and boy, if you haven't seen that fight, don't watch it. Mm-hmm. Don't watch it. If you need Brock to be your unbeatable sugar bear, you're going to hate that fight because Alistair Overeem, man, Brock Lesnar's huge and Brock Lesnar's strong. Alistair Overeem is 6'9" and like 385, and his body fat's like, and he's crazy. He's like he's a walking vial of HGH, but an incredibly impressive person. But I guess that's the whole thing, is like, you're correcting Dana's mistake. UFC would be glorious if they actually would book the outcome.
Yeah.
Yes, it would. And by the way, the fake stuff in UFC is just working punches. People would be dead. They just would be. Don't talk to me about how he's going to murder Floyd Mayweather, but everybody in UFC is all happy and safe. But yeah, the outcome, don't get me wrong, the outcome in UFC would be a lot better off if it was fake. It would be, because then you wouldn't lose Ronda Rousey in the shocking fashion that you did. I'm talking Holly Holm. We talked about this earlier, man. The Amanda Nunes thing is not surprising at all, and not because Holly Holm beat her, but just because Amanda Nunes is bad. I think a lot of people thought that was coming. Anyhow,
it was a lot less of a shock after the first.
Well, that's my thing. Yeah. I think even before that, if you follow it, you would have expected that. Now, I totally agree. Like, widespread, I totally agree. Now, there were still a lot of her fans that were just crushed. But, yeah, once you saw that first fight, but even then, it was like, that was the Holly Holm thing. It was supposed to be the boxing tune-up. Oh, you dispatch the boxer and go talk crap to Floyd, and then you'll fight Amanda Nunes. Then Amanda Nunes will kill you.
They had the Mae Young Classic, and they had Ronda Rousey there in the front row. Also you had, Charlotte and all the Raw, SmackDown horsewomen there. And so that's been the rumor that everybody's been trying to spout out for well over a year now, is Ronda versus Charlotte. I'm like, that's eventually what you want to get to, but you don't blow that right up front. Don't blow your load on that, brother. Uh, the first match that I think Ronda needs to have coming in is Stephanie.
Yeah, I can't book Ronda in UFC. I don't get or in UFC, WWE. I just don't have any good ideas.
To Vince's credit, bleeding forehead and everything, and well, most of the McMahons, other than Stephanie, is they will do the job. She needs to do the job this time. You don't need Charlotte to do the job right off the bat.
That's one of my things. I don't understand wasting Charlotte on her. I certainly don't understand wasting the Four Horsewomen on her. And the reason I don't is, not to get on the sore subject, but I'm still ticked about it. You've already wasted 3/4 of them.
Yeah.
You've ruined 3/4 of them. To half of them, I don't think you're ever going to get back. One, because you have no interest, and two, apparently you just,
Have no interest.
Bailey, you got dark hair. Oh, darn. But anyhow, man, it's like I don't quite understand the logic of just killing all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. I don't quite get it unless you just want to establish the Four Horsewomen of MMA as the new thing. But I just didn't get the impression they were coming in on long terms. Now the one girl, the Mae Young girl, is. That's what she does now. But I don't remember. I do not have the network. I didn't see any of the Mae Young Classic. But
it's really, really good. It's worth going and checking out.
I believe you. They'll have to put it somewhere besides the network.
And I think that's what's going to happen is when they see just how big of a hit it was, how much bigger of a hit it was over the European Classic and even the Cruiserweight Classic. I think that's when you're going to see a women-only show eventually.
I hope so, as long as they do tag teams. I've been screaming for women tag teams forever. Let's do it.
I have to.
Let's do it.
I would
think so too, but 205 Live ain't got no tag teams.
What?
You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I just would really love the extra division. I
don't think 205 Live is going to be around much longer.
No, it's not. But if you were going to do it, I'm not talking about now. God, it's been on the air uselessly for a long, long time. I'm talking about when you start. If you're starting a division, do it. But 205 Live is very, very simple. When you want to build it around Kota Ibushi and he turns down your contract, you're in trouble. Whenever you turn on a Ring of Honor show and everybody weighs 196, 197, 203, 194, and you don't sign any of them because you can't, you're done. It's very, very simple. Yeah. If you offer Marty Scurll a contract when the show starts and build around him, 205 Live's an effing hit.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, because TJ Perkins can't cut a promo and you won't leave the belt on anyone else long enough to let them get over it except Neville, who didn't need it to begin with because Neville's the freaking man, yeah, of course it's not going to work. And I'm glad everybody's crazy excited about Mae Young, but it'll be the same thing for them. If you don't book it any better than that, I don't care how often you put Ronda Rousey on the all-women's show, no one's going to care.
I think that's what you're seeing with, and this is all speculation, and it may never even happen. They may just decide, let's just stick to Total Divas. But this is something that they see, well, we need to care about this because people are watching it and they give a damn.
I hope so, because see, that's been my problem with their booking in the women's division for months now, is they openly take the most over girls there are and job them out. So I don't understand that. So if you're actually going to be logical, that's great. That would be great, man. Wow, this is something people want. Let's do it. I guess my skepticism is that when's the last time that worked on Vince McMahon? Oh, that's what people are into? That's what people want? Okay, let's do that. When was the last time that happened? I'm pretty sure it was Rocky Maivia. And I'm not talking about Rocky Maivia. I mean when he was finally smart enough to be like, it didn't work, Rock. We're getting killed in the ratings. Do what you want to.
Yeah. And
you drop the leash on that guy. Didn't work on John Cena, not working on Roman Reigns, didn't work for Bayley's, not working for Sasha Banks. It's just, hopefully, this is the pile of crap that gets swept away and you'll start making decisions that people want to see. That would be awesome if that's where they're headed with it. It'd be killer, man. But I do hope that if we get specific shows, we get tags. And it's not just Vince's fault. Not fault. That's silly. It's not just Vince. I was always like that with the cruiserweights in WCW. Like, man, y'all. I guess my problem is this. Any division you have where the belt is the only thing you've got, you have a division. If you can't have feuds that don't circle around the title, that's no good. It's no good. And even the main show is like that. Who cares about the U.S. title? Nobody. Who cares about it? And it stinks because who has it is incredible. It's incredible. Those should be the best matches on every card.
there's too many more promos where Vince is gonna take a, you know, headbutt and get up and hard. There ain't gonna be no more Vince to worry about. So that we have that going for us. So I think that that's what, you know, we're kind of hopefully building towards, the letting somebody else take control of something and see if it works out or not.
Letting them NXT the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Because there's the first litmus test right there, and it's overwhelming. Like we talk about after every single pay-per-view, despite the fact that this is going to be the one that's not as good, they always are.
Yeah. So you said something about the PWI 500?
Oh, yeah, man. I don't know the list. I haven't seen the whole list. I only know, like, the top 6 and then 10.
Mm-hmm.
And Kazuchika Okada won the thing, which is very cool. I'm pretty sure AJ Styles was 2 and Kevin Owens was 3. And I am an AJ Styles mark. I absolutely love the guy to pieces, but this is the thing I don't understand. If we're just talking in ring, AJ's the man.
Mm-hmm.
If it's everything, though, how can Kevin Owens be better than anybody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I just don't. That's just me not understanding the criteria, or basically calling out the fact that it's like the Heisman Trophy and the criteria changes depending on who we want on top.
Yeah. We have to change it to suit what the list is
right now.
Yeah.
Who was 4? I think Roman Reigns was 4.
Okay.
And Kenny Omega was 5, which with juxtaposition with the first one makes no sense whatsoever, because the reason Okada is up there is the matches he had with Kenny Omega. I don't know if there have ever been 4 professional wrestlers at any time in history better than Kenny Omega. Because then, again, if we're doing everything, stick work, la-di-da, Kevin Owens, Kenny Omega have got to be your guy. They just do. But it's cool. It's nice he made the top 5. I think Nakamura was 6, and then I don't know 7 through 9. I just don't remember, man. I think Miz was 10, but I just don't remember the rest.
Yeah. I think, you know, Miz having the year he did would get him in the top 10. That, you know, any other time that'd be kind of pushing it, you know.
He was the original Alexa as far as people just all siding up like this is who we like, so it's cool. I mean, at least they ran with it, because I mean, it's a little bit different, I think, with Miz, because Miz is basically the corporate apple polisher that they have. I've always thought that Miz was very funny in the regard that, I don't like Roman Reigns, he's being shoved down my throat. But they've been trying to make Miz the top heel in that company for 10 years. And it finally worked. And, okay, well, of course it's okay. I mean, but I guess my other thing with that is, I just have a thing with Miz that drives me crazy, and it's that who has he made better? Heels need to make the people they work with look better.
Yeah.
It doesn't happen that way, because he's not a heel, not anymore. Things have changed. But he had a real good year, and it's all, well, him and Maurice and him and him. Okay, that's cool, man. I mean, there are people that are not in that top 10 that much, much better. But it's more of that, like, all-around thing. Stick work, I know, God, the Bryan Danielson interview alone is going to get the same reason that CM Punk won the thing after the paint, man. Yeah. It's like, okay, whatever, y'all. I wish I could remember who else is up there, but I just don't know, because I'm dumb.
Man, it's one of those kind of, I remember that issue coming out, and it was one of those kind of lists that you hear about still. You're like, they still do that?
Yeah.
My Lord.
It's cool, man, because the coolest thing about it is not the list. Lists are dumb. Like Rolling Stone's top 100 albums, all that stuff is pathetic.
500? Good
That's
Lord.
what's cool about it. You buy it, and you get to read these profiles of 500 people, probably 350 you've never heard of before. It's awesome. Yeah. I love that. I'm waiting for him to newsstand the sucker, because I still like that stuff better. But yeah, that's what's exciting about it. Who cares about PWI at any other point on ever? But that part's cool. Getting that much information on that many different people is kind of groovy. And I'm right, because everyone freaked about the Mae Young Classic. We never heard any of them, so that was cool. But I like the I wish that as far as the presentation of it, man, I think that Lucha Underground deserves a hell of a pat on the back as far as the sit-down interview segment. This is the real people, you know what I'm saying? I mean, it's way more of a TV show at Lucha, but that is where the idea came from. It's a great idea. So I like the way they did it, and I like the way they stretched it, and, I haven't seen it, but this is what, that's all JR's podcast anymore, is as a commercial for the WWE Network and the Mae Young Classic, but it's very neat because he's got that insider stuff and can talk about, well, this is the way they're setting it up, and this is what they're doing, and it's like, man, that does sound neat. Yeah, that's cool.
That's good stuff. Worth checking out. But I guess one of the problems I had with the Mae Young Classic was the trophy. The trophy was just like so uh, ridiculously huge and awkward. You could just tell Triple H would have struggled to lift that damn thing up. You're gonna give it to one of the girls out there? Like, come on, just don't let it fall over on anybody. It'll be dead.
It's like the Andre Battle Royal Trophy. It's this huge thing.
It's like, why did I win this?
God, I wish I'd lost. That was the reason that Shayna Baszler lost. She's like, no, man.
I ain't picking that up.
No, we'll put you over today, brother.
No.
I don't know about that. I like that. I like the idea of Shayna Baszler calling her own number and like, no, you're going over. You're lifting that stupid thing. I'm tired.
You can have it.
For real. Oh, man. Today's Sunday.
Yep.
Don't know about the Falcons. Falcons are playing right now.
Mm-hmm. Should be wrapping up.
My guys didn't play yesterday because they got canceled. I guess the big one was Clemson and Louisville, but I think that went the way most people thought it was gonna. Because no offense to Louisville, man, but it's just, Lamar's the man. Lamar puts up those huge numbers, and that's always fun and always exciting. But defenses do tend to snuff that stuff out, and I'm pretty sure that's what happened. I think Clemson beat them up pretty good. Don't know what other big ones happened. USC Texas, which we were talking about this earlier, and again, it's not an insult. It's just my opinion. Here's the things that are just things that I feel. Everybody in sports are on drugs. It's not an insult. I'm not dissing anybody. You give me everything, I still couldn't do it. I just think the idea of people that are in that position to make that kind of money by taking this or getting that edge, why not? How the hell am I going to criticize anybody for making that decision?
It's the difference between you being in AAA or being up.
You're going to do it.
Do it.
You're going to do it, and it just doesn't bother me a bit, man. And the other one is that it's all rigged, and that's okay. Just don't bet your darn money on it. I'm telling you, I love this stuff. It's supposed to be this huge insult to say sports are fake. I do think they're fake, and I love them. I wall-to-wall college football every Saturday. I DVR'd the United game, which is great because the Atlanta United game was actually only on Univision, so I got to listen to it in Spanish. It was very, very cool. But the USC Texas game is doing it right because it's believable. I was telling the man, the only thing in the game that's slightly unbelievable is having your sophomore quarterback lead you 70 yards down the field to get you in position to kick a field goal and then go to overtime. Here's why it works. If you know you're telling a story, tell the story. Sam Darnold, the USC quarterback, has been praised for 2 years now for how poised and composed and he is. He looks like Aaron Rodgers out there with just that cool, never gets rattled. It's very, excuse me, I'm drinking too fast. It's very cool. But that's the story you've already told. So you got 40 seconds to get within field goal range. When he goes out and does it, it's absolutely part of the narrative you've already established. That's awesome. That's good, solid writing.
Yep.
On top of that, you kick to tie up, and then you go to double overtime, and you force a turnover, and then you kick to win the game. And they've been talking all night about the walk-on freshman kicker at USC. So then you've got a great made-for-TV story. Fox knows what they're doing, man. It's great. It was awesome. I enjoyed it. And I think 94,000 people were at the Coliseum yesterday to see it as opposed to the 11 or so that went to see the Rams play today.
Yep.
Which is pretty interesting. But yeah, no real huge. I don't think there were any big earth shakers yesterday. NIU beat Nebraska. That was. I like Nebraska. I hate to say that, but man, the MAC is just such a booger bear, man. There are so many teams up there that just live on going to places and ruining people's seasons. But yeah, I guess that was pretty much college football. Just not a ton of stuff to talk about. It was cool. It was a good day. It's just that there wasn't a ton of things to talk about, and everything was leading towards the fight, which I didn't get to watch at the time, but I saw anyway and loved and I'm very excited about. And then the United game, my brother was over, so we had Tennessee and Florida on the TV, so I put Atlanta United on my radio or on my little phone to just listen to the call. And this is how, my friends, you build a league. Understand, this was the third game they had ever played in Mercedes-Benz. The first game got 45,000 and change. The second game got 42,000 and change, which is genuine capacity. 45 was them jamming them in there because it's the first one, standing room only. Let's go.
Yeah.
Third game, 70,240, I think, was the final number, which is a record for a soccer crowd in America, which is super, super cool. It also, if my math is correct, puts you somewhere in the range of 158,000 people in 3 games. Yeah. Shocking stuff, man. Here's how the game went down. Orlando goes up 1-0. About half an hour later, Atlanta equalizes. 3 minutes later, Orlando goes up 2-1. I think it was about 25 minutes later, Atlanta pulls back 2-2. No kidding, no lie. 3 minutes later, Orlando goes up 3-2.
Yep.
And about 15 minutes after that, Atlanta pulls level 3-3. It is shocking that you are going in your new gym stadium. It is the, of course, top-of-the-line stadium in MLS and darn sure for capacity because I always call it Quest. I cannot remember what it's called now, but the one out in Seattle is very big. It's the first, 40,000 seat for soccer stadium in the country. In Atlanta, we got a lot of good stuff from them. It's all good. But you're going to have that game, and you have got 30,000 extra people, 25,000 extra people in the building, and you go with a 6-goal, 3-3 draw. And it's not 3-0, 1-2-3, and then, here's the big comeback. It's back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, just which made that fight so interesting.
Yeah.
That, my friends, is how you grow a league, particularly when nobody in the country picked the game up, which I think was a good idea, especially if you're trying to sell tickets. Don't put it on locally. Make people come to the stadium. It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Univision, on the other hand, goes to every household in the country, in Canada and the United States and Mexico, whether they got cable or not, and that is your base. Especially Mexico. Mexico's what made MLS, because it doesn't matter, man. If there's a soccer game being played, it's going to be on television there. It's glorious. Just a great day, top to bottom, for MLS. What a good decision, and I'm happy they got that record, which is very, very cool. That's just too cool. But, man, it was awesome. That game was great. I loved it. It was very exciting on the radio and on the Univision replay. It's good stuff. It's very, very fun. It's ridiculous to be... It's not really ridiculous because I like soccer, but even not liking soccer, man, you got to understand, Atlanta's never been at the vanguard of any sport ever. Ever. Toronto in MLS is basically breaking the world. They are this crushing, destroying, Greg Popovich-style soccer team. And we got LeBron. I mean, literally, that's what Atlanta is, because as good as they are, it's not like we're top of the league. It's not like we're killing everybody. It's not like we're waltzing away with the thing. But as far as buzz and word of mouth and unbelievable exposure for the sports in this city, no one's ever gotten close ever. That includes Dion, that includes Mike Vick, that includes the Braves, and they won everything in the world for 10 years. Dominique, Herschel Walker, all of them. It is a very, very cool and interesting time to be a sports fan in Atlanta, especially if you've been here forever and had to swallow all the crap about what a terrible sports town it is. Well, not in one sport it ain't. In one sport, it's the envy of the rest of the country. It's cool. It's very cool stuff, and I'm happy, and I'm glad so many people went down yesterday and had a good time.
That's what's up.
That's how we do. Take it easy, y'all.
All right. Bye.